I thought it was pretty good, but I do have concerns. So if you've been following my channel for a while, you know, you've been following my videos, especially my video I did on Hyliion's last quarter financial results, you may note that I was not a fan. I was not a fan of those results at all. I thought that both Thomas and Haley, they sounded very unsure of themselves. They had trouble with the Q&A, and I did not like what I heard regarding the hybrid, regarding the revenue, regarding the way things are going. So, how do I feel about these quarter's financial results? Well, before I get into it, and we're going to get into the details in a bit, but I gotta say that I felt these results were a lot better. A lot better. Because, and of course, I listened to the earnings call before making this video, and I watched the video that they showed at the beginning. It was a neat video. I will say that, you know, both Thomas and Sherry, they sounded much more confident in their answers. They sounded very insightful. They were very informative. Like, they were very proactive, and they felt like they were controlling the earnings. I'm a very big fan. I really like the way they conducted themselves in this earnings call. Now, I will go over my concerns later, but for starters, let me talk about everything I liked, which is a lot of it. So, this right here, this is stuff that we already knew, but it's very welcome to hear in an earnings call. They announced a 300-unit Hypertruck ERX project reservation agreement from Detmar Logistics. So they are, you know, recognizing more support for the ERX. They're continuing to work on the commercialization of the Hypertruck ERX. Now, we're going to get into that later. That is one of my concerns, but I do like the progress that they're showing here. I believe they did a demo for the Biden administration a while ago of an actual, you know, Hypertruck ERX driving, not just in motion, but driving, which is, you know, fantastic way to get your product forward. I really like that. Continue working their hybrid product. Now, that's supposed to go into commercialization in the latter half of this year. And from everything I heard in the conference call, they are on track on that. No more delays as far as that's concerned. If we go, where is it here? They're expected to recognize revenue starting in the second half of this year. That's something that they announced last quarter, and they're reaffirming it this quarter. So somewhere in the second half of 2021, they're going to finally start recognizing revenue for the hybrids. And as we all probably know, Detmar Logistics, they actually ordered 10 of the hybrids. So we know we're getting at least 10 units shipped. Now, we don't know. Now, they're probably not going to come close to the 300 hybrid units that they announced in the very beginning before they went public, but, you know, I'll get into that in a second. They also reaffirmed that they continue to have a strong balance sheet with enough liquidity to fund the current commercialization plans for both the hybrid and the ERX, which is very welcome to see as a pre-revenue company. And another bit of news that they announced, well, this we already knew, but the Hypertruck ERX, their long-range variant, it qualifies for California's Advanced Clean Truck Rule. So basically what this means is that truck manufacturers, they will be able to achieve up to a 75% zero-emission vehicle sales credit by selling a Class A truck with the Hypertruck ERX electric powertrain. So this right here will incentivize would-be buyers into buyers. So this is all very welcome news. Now, on to some of the numbers. Now, the income statement, it doesn't really matter this go around since they're pre-revenue. They've been spending a lot more on research and development, which is to be expected. Going down to their balance sheet. Now, they're still showing significant cash and cash equivalents. However, it is down from December 31st of last year, which means that they are going through it. So hopefully, now they did state, like I said earlier, they did state that they have enough liquidity to get through this until commercialization starts. So hopefully that continues to be the case. Their assets did go down. Their liabilities did go up. So as long as they get to commercialization and all that stuff before they run out of money, we'll be good. Going through their cash flow, you can see that they are losing cash in their operating activities, which is to be expected. and they are getting their money, well, a majority of their income, incoming cash flow through exercising stock warrants. Now, on to my concerns. Now, I do like the way that Hyliion is handling everything. They seem to be very proactive as far as things that are going on. However, the first concern is that Thomas did spend a portion of the remark talking about these supply shortages. Now, this is not a company issue. This is not even an industry issue. This is an industry's issue. This is affecting many different industries, anything involved in semiconductors. And Hyliion did express that they are having difficulty obtaining certain products. And you can start to see evidence of the effects right here. Now, I don't know if this is solely caused by the supply delays and stuff, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that it is. This is their PDF from before they went public. This is the expected launch of the Hypertruck ERX. They are supposed to wrap up commercialization by the end of Q2, so the first half of next year, and go into volume production next year, throughout next year. That changed. This is their Q4 earnings presentation, and now commercialization is expected to begin in 2022, to start in 2022, which is a bit different than this right here. They went from starting now to starting next year. And then they went from that to being done in late 2022 and being followed by volume ramp up. So what is volume ramp up supposed to go into 2023 now? Now, again, I don't know. I'm going to assume that's not Hyliion's fault, especially with the global, chip shortages, English, and all the other stuff. But it is becoming increasingly evident that it is having effect on Hyliion's business. Now, normally I wouldn't be worried, and Hyliion does seem to be on top of all of it. Like, they are announcing, they've been able to find ways around it by going to, alternate suppliers and stuff like that. And they did mention that starting from next quarter, the supply should start gradually getting better. They did say that. Now, we'll see if that turns out. But, it is a concern right now, especially for a pre-revenue company. And another thing, this concerns the hybrids, is this line right here. While Hyliion expects to begin generating revenue from its improved hybrid product after launch later this year, it does not expect the revenue generated in 2021 to be material. Now, Thomas did not give any guidance on this or the earnings call as to how much they expect the revenue to actually be, but apparently it's going to be small enough that they felt they needed to include this line. Now, if you remember in last earnings report, they said that they're expected to generate revenue, but they didn't include this part right here. So the fact that they included this information now and not, as opposed to including it last quarter, means that their expectations are lowering. And there was a question asked on the Q&A call about this, and Thomas did say that it was due to supply reasons, supply chain reasons. So again, that's supply, it's outside of Hyliion's control, and it is something that, like I keep saying, Hyliion is being proactive of. At least they're giving an appearance of it, but it is something that we have to concern ourselves with. Now, this doesn't really deter me from my long-range outlook on Hyliion. Like I said, like I keep saying, Hyliion seems to be on top of everything. But it is something that we have to watch out for as a pre-revenue company. Like, they claim to have enough liquidity to get themselves through this, and they are making progress on both the hybrids and the ERXs. So this is not something I'm concerned about, but as investors, we do have to keep a look on it and just make sure that they continue to, maintain the liquidity if these shortages continue unexpectedly. If Hyliion may need to raise more capital, you know what I mean? Now, as far as what I'm doing with Hyliion, now I may nibble off a few more shares here and there, but I'm pretty much done with my major purchases. Like I said in my last video, if Hyliion posts revenue, I will start buying more heavily. And I do like everything I heard with Hyliion as far as them being so proactive and them being a lot more confident on this call and in the Q&A. However, I feel that my position in Hyliion right now is good. I feel like I'm happy with the amount I have invested. If it drops and they report revenue in the next quarter thereafter, I will start investing more heavily. But if this is as low as it goes and it just goes up from here, I'll be happy with what I have invested. So right now, I'll be holding with the exception of a few shares here and there. Like, I only have a limited amount of capital, and I only have a limited amount of capital. Where is it? Up here. And if I'm gonna devote any money, no offense to Hyliion enthusiasts, but I'm gonna be putting my money in the Jivo. They seem to be a little more, you know, the money seems to be a little more on the table with this company. So I will be putting the majority of my investments in the Jivo, unless I hear something in the earnings call tomorrow that I don't like. But anyways, take care, have a great day, and eat your vegetables.